Welcome to the Lost in History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. This image shows an impressive dust storm in Oklahoma, United States, recorded on April 6, 1937. The event occurred during the so-called Dust Bowl, a period of intense dust storms that affected the central United States in the 1930s. The Hindenburg airship under construction in Friedrichshafen in 1935. This airship was one of the largest ever built in aviation history. It was developed in Germany as part of the rigid balloon air transport program. Historical photo of Albert Einstein during a lecture on the theory of relativity in 1922. He shares his revolutionary ideas with an attentive audience, explaining complex physics concepts. Einstein had developed the theory of relativity in 1905, but his explanations continued to influence the scientific field for decades. The United States Capitol with its dome under construction in 1851. The work was part of a major expansion of the original building. The new dome replaced the previous wooden one with a cast iron structure. Today, it is one of the most recognizable architectural landmarks in Washington, D.C. A member of Napoleon Bonaparte's army, depicted in 1815. This period marked the end of the Napoleonic Wars. The uniform included colorful details like plumes and insignia that identified his role and rank. Photo taken during the Prague Spring in 1968. The image shows a significant moment of popular protest in then Czechoslovakia. This movement sought political and social reforms within a more open system. The episode has been remembered as one of the most emblematic moments in recent European history. The World Trade Center in New York City during its construction phase around 1970. The complex began rising in the late 1960s. The towers were designed by architect Minoru Yamasaki. Marie Skłodowska-Curie and Pierre Curie, two renowned physicists and Nobel Prize winners, appear in this photo taken shortly after their wedding. The photograph was made in France in 1895. Both were pioneers in radioactivity research. Berlin at the end of World War II. Photo from 1946. The image shows damaged buildings and streets under reconstruction. The city was going through a period of transformation and reorganization. Ford Model T assembly line in the 1910s, located at the Ford factory in Detroit, United States. This system revolutionized production by enabling large-scale manufacturing. It was one of the key landmarks of the modern automotive industry. John Quincy Adams in 1843. He was the 6th President of the United States, serving from 1825 to 1829. Beyond the presidency, he worked as a diplomat, lawyer, legislator, and writer. He is remembered as one of the significant figures in 19th century American politics. This photo was taken in 1939 and shows German soldiers moving around in vehicles during a rest period. The image captures a moment of daily life for military groups at the start of a period marked by major changes in Europe. The year 1939 is remembered for significant events in many parts of the world. Lon Chaney in clown makeup in 1928. The image was recorded during the filming of the feature Laugh, Clown Laugh. Chaney was known for his impressive transformations and creative use of makeup. He became known as the Man of 1,000 Faces for his roles in silent cinema. Future Queen Elizabeth II in 1942, still young. The image shows her in her early years of public life. At this stage, she was already preparing for important official duties, a historic record that foreshadows her long tenure as monarch. Photographer Margaret Bourke White takes a photo from the top of a building in 1935. She was one of the first women to work as a photojournalist in hazardous areas. At that time, tall buildings symbolized progress and innovation. Frida Kahlo, at 5 years old in 1912. The Mexican artist, known for her striking self-portraits, had a childhood marked by health challenges. Her work deeply reflected her personal and cultural experiences. Haruo Nakajima, in the Godzilla suit, and Momoko Ochi on the set of the film Godzilla in 1954. The production was made in Japan and marked the start of one of the world's most famous film franchises. Nakajima's suit was made of heavy materials and required great physical effort. A woman taking a self-portrait in 1900. She is using a Kodak Box Brownie camera. This camera was one of the first accessible to the general public. The moment depicts the beginning of the self-portrait habit, long before the digital age. Salvador Dalí walking with his pet anteater. The scene was recorded in Paris around the 1960s. Dalí was known for his eccentric behavior and taste for unusual imagery. This photo was taken during the 1927 Tour de France, one of the world's most traditional cycling races. It shows cyclists in a break, with some holding cigarettes while they continue pedaling. This photo shows President Lyndon B. Johnson driving his amphicar on April 10, 1965. The image was taken at the presidential ranch in Texas. The car drove straight into a lake, surprising its passengers. The amphicar was an amphibious vehicle manufactured in Germany that could travel both on land and in water. A friendly handshake between a Soviet aviator from the group known as the Night Witches and an American soldier. The meeting took place in 1945 on the banks of the Elbe River in Germany. It was the first time troops from both nations met at that location during that period. This photo was taken in 1941 in Finland and shows 3 soldiers sitting together: a German, a Soviet, and a Finnish soldier. They are calmly discussing a shared interest, photography. Despite their countries' differences, the captured moment reveals a rare and peaceful pause during tense times. A United States Air Force lieutenant is held in custody by a young North Vietnamese soldier. The photo was recorded in 1967 during a period of intense clashes in Southeast Asia. The officer appears surrounded and escorted in a dense vegetated area. An anti-communist protester holds an improvised Molotov cocktail behind his back during the 1956 Hungarian Uprising. This movement took place in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. It was marked by popular protests against the ruling authority. The uprising began on October 23rd and was heavily suppressed in November. Albert Einstein, relaxing by the Baltic Sea in 1928. He is seated on the sand, enjoying a moment of rest away from his scientific work. This type of image shows a more everyday side of the physicist, famous for his theories. A video game tournament held in 1980. The event took place in the United States and marked the start of organized, competitive electronic gaming. Players competed in popular titles of the time, such as Space Invaders. Claude Monet and his wife, Camille Monet, posed together in a photograph. The couple was captured at various points throughout the life of the famous Impressionist painter. Camille was a great muse for Monet, inspiring many of his best-known works, including Women in the Garden and Impression, Sunrise. A couple poses with the same bicycle in two photos taken decades apart. The first image is from 1961, showing youth and simplicity. The second, from 2018, reveals the passage of time but retains the same spirit. Together, the photos tell a beautiful story of memory and connection. Kuwait, 1991. The country had just emerged from an occupation period, and the population was beginning to return to normal life. Photographs from that time show scenes of reconstruction, the return of civilians, and an international presence. The year marked the end of one of the most difficult phases in Kuwait's modern history. Joseph Ratzinger, who would later become Pope Benedict XVI in 1965. At the time, he was a young theologian and professor in Germany. His academic work had a major influence within the Catholic Church. The Pantheon, originally built as a temple dedicated to all Roman gods, is known for its impressive concrete dome and central oculus, which allows natural light to illuminate the interior. The Wolseley Vickers car with wheels and tracks was a passenger vehicle prototype with its lower chassis adapted for tracks. This hybrid model proved of little use for civilian purposes. However, it attracted military interest as a potential officer transport vehicle. Dr. Elizabeth Broyne sits in the back of her horse-drawn ambulance in the United States in 1911. This type of vehicle was used to transport patients before automobiles became widespread. A child's reaction upon meeting Andre the Giant in the 1970s. The image captures the child's astonishment and admiration upon meeting the famous wrestler and actor, known for his enormous stature. Native Peoples Camp on the Great Plains in 1890. In this image, traditional tents are set up across the vast open landscape of central North America. The photograph captures an everyday moment of organization and community life. Before and after the excavation of a Greek stadium. Located in the ancient Greek city of Magnesia, now in Turkey. The structure was uncovered after extensive archaeological excavations. The stadium was part of an important urban center in antiquity. This photo was taken in London around 1940 and shows someone dressed as Santa Claus wearing a special helmet to deliver gifts. The scene took place during a time when the city was going through difficult moments. Max Schreck, relaxing behind the scenes of the film Nosferatu in 1922. The production took place in Germany and is considered a landmark of expressionist cinema. Max Schreck played the lead character, an iconic figure with a terrifying appearance. The film was inspired by Dracula, but used different names for legal reasons. Sybil Shepherd poses for a photograph in the 1970s. The American actress and model gained prominence at that time after starring in films and fashion campaigns. She became one of the most recognized faces in cinema and television in the following decades. An incredibly striking couple posing together in the 1960s. The image captures the intimate and affectionate connection between them, highlighting how their hands are naturally and lovingly intertwined. The era's style is reflected in their clothing and the photograph's atmosphere, evoking a sense of love and harmony. Jim Carrey during Christmas of 1967. The image shows the actor as a child, about 5 years old. Born in Canada, he would go on to become one of comedy's biggest names. The photo captures a simple family moment before fame. This image depicts a mine worker just after finishing his shift, recorded in 1958. He appears covered in soot, reflecting the harsh conditions faced daily underground. Coal mining was fundamental to industrial growth in many countries. An old Halloween costume with a peculiar appearance. These outfits were common in the early 20th century. They were handmade with simple materials like paper and fabric. Today, they elicit curiosity for their distinctive and striking style. The Dunkley Parameter was launched in 1923. This innovative vehicle allowed mothers and nannies to take their babies for city outings with ease. It functioned like a motorized stroller, offering comfort and convenience. Pepsi delivery driver with a stylish truck in the 1940s. He delivered soda bottles to markets and grocery stores of the time. The vehicle displayed the brand logo and a striking design. This scene shows the growth of the beverage industry in the 20th century. Mine workers in Montana around 1889. The photograph was taken by John Grabill. They worked extracting precious minerals in mountainous regions. The image depicts part of the economic development of the western United States in the 19th century. Women with 1920s style posed next to their car. The photo was taken during the height of the Roaring Twenties. At that time, the flapper look represented female independence and freedom. Milk delivery by the Bowman Dairy Company in Chicago in 1914. The glass jugs were transported by horse-drawn wagons. This type of service was common in United States cities at the time. Door-to-door distribution helped ensure families received fresh milk daily. A drive-in restaurant in Portland, Oregon, around 1958. Customers could place orders and eat inside their cars. This service model became popular in the 1950s in the United States. A built-in dishwasher with a retractable system, introduced in the 1950s. Designed for space saving, it could be stored under the countertop and raised only when in use. This innovation reflected the progress of household appliances in the post-war era. A Scandinavian flight attendant tries on a proposed new uniform for airlines in 1958. The design was considered modern and bold for its time. Despite the official presentation, the proposal was not approved. It stands as an example of innovation efforts in commercial aviation attire. Traditional Appalachian mountain musicians, accompanied by a dog, on a porch, probably in the 1920s or 1930s. The musicians with guitars and other region-typical instruments play while the dog rests beside them, creating a warm and genuine scene. Dutch boy with a pillow tied to his back to cushion falls while skating on ice, recorded in 1933. At that time, children used this kind of makeshift protection to avoid injuries while enjoying the harsh winter. The scene captures the simple and creative childhood of frozen communities in the Netherlands. A family at their country home in West Virginia in 1900. The image shows the family members posing in front of the cabin, a typical example of rural construction of the time. Their simple clothing and the natural setting highlight everyday life in the countryside, away from the growing urbanization. A female swimmer poses on the beach at Deauville, France, around 1925. She is wearing a period swimsuit with an elegant and modest aesthetic common in the 1920s. Deauville, known for its beaches and as an elite tourist destination, was popular among French high society. Woman with her car, around 1920. The photo shows the early popularization of vehicles among the public. At the time, driving was a symbol of independence for many women. The car in the background reflects the classic design of early 20th century automobiles. A lovely photo of a brother and sister in Chicago in 1945. They posed together on a city sidewalk. Their elegant clothing reflects the fashion of the time. The girl's handbag stands out as a striking accessory. A young man from Estonia poses with his handmade bicycle. The image was recorded in 1912 in a rural area of the country. The bicycle is made of wood and simple parts, reflecting creativity and effort. This photo shows an example of everyday life and ingenuity in the early 20th century. A boy sells lemonade with a portable dispenser on the streets of Berlin. The photo was taken in 1931 during a period of economic change in Germany. The boy carries the container strapped to his body, ready to serve the drink to customers. This image shows the entrepreneurial spirit of children in tough times. About 3,000 workers gathered for a photo in front of the Manhattan Bank building in 1964. This image shows the scale of the teams involved in the construction and operations of large institutions. The photo was taken in New York City during a period of intense urban growth. Man on the porch of his cabin, Eagle Creek, Murray, Idaho, 1889. The photograph captures an everyday life moment during the westward expansion of the United States. The simple wooden cabin, typical of mountainous rural areas, was built amid nature. Three beautiful women posed together for an old photograph. The image appears to have been taken between the 1920s and 1950s. They wear elegant period dresses and well-styled hair. The scene conveys a special moment of unity and timeless style. A photo of three sisters taken almost 100 years ago. They stand side by side wearing typical period clothing. The record preserves a family's intimate moment. It is a simple portrait, but rich in historical and emotional value. Boats navigating the Rhine River, carrying barrels of beverages in Düsseldorf, Germany. The image was recorded in 1957. The loaded barrels were used to store fermented drinks, River transport was one of the most common and efficient ways to move goods in Europe at that time. The heaviest man in Europe in 1955. He became known for his impressive size and made headlines in multiple countries. The photo was taken at a public event where he was one of the main attractions. At that time, such records aroused great curiosity and drew public attention. During the Victorian era, many women grew their hair exceptionally long. This was considered a symbol of femininity, social status, and beauty. The practice reflected the cultural norms of the time and required constant care. Actress Jenny Clare poses next to her mini car. The image was recorded in London on October 6, 1962. The mini model became a symbol of British urban mobility in the 1960s. The combination of celebrity and automobile reflected the era's style and culture. Postal carrier in the 1910s. She walked long distances to deliver letters and packages in urban and rural areas. The uniform included a hat, a long skirt, and a leather satchel. This work represented an important connection between people and their communities. Customers buying bread and snacks at a drive-thru market in Los Angeles in 1949. The place also offered beverages, functioning as a convenience store, accessible directly from the car. This practical format became popular in the post-World War II period. A remarkably small big man from the Netherlands in 1904. He draws attention with the contrast between his stature and striking appearance. In the image, you can see his traditional wooden clogs. A women's bowling team poses in front of a Chevrolet car in a showroom window. The image was recorded in San Francisco, California, around the mid-1940s. The scene shows the sport's popularity and the appreciation of cars in urban culture at the time. A father and his son take playful photos in the 1910s. The image captures a relaxed moment, showing the spontaneity and humor of the time. In the early 20th century, photography was still a new pastime for many families. Portrait of a mother with her daughter. The image captures a calm and intimate moment between the two. Both are dressed in period clothing, likely from the late 19th century. This type of portrait was common in past photography studios. Mischief in France in 1934. Children are seen smiling as they get into innocent trouble. The scene takes place on a quiet street in a French town. The moment was captured spontaneously, reflecting the lightheartedness of childhood. A chimney sweep and his assistant in London in 1877. At that time, chimney cleaning was essential to prevent accidents in coal-heated homes. The work was often done by adults, accompanied by young apprentices. Group portrait taken at a wedding in Norway around 1900. The bride, groom, and guests are dressed in formal attire of the era, with women wearing long dresses and men in suits. Weddings were important community events, and it was common to capture the occasion with group photos. A photograph showing a person carrying a newborn lamb in Scotland in 1932. The scene captures rural life of the time, highlighting animal care and agriculture. Scotland, known for its mountainous landscapes and pastures, was home to many sheep farms. Post office in Finley, Texas, in 1937. The image was captured by photographer Dorothea Lange. She documented various aspects of everyday life in the United States during the 1930s. Rabbit Run, Los Angeles, 1930. The image shows a rabbit race on a small track specially set up for the event. These races were held as a form of popular entertainment in some communities. Dutch soldiers during the official visit of Finland's President Urho Kekkonen in 1972. The meeting took place in the Netherlands as part of a diplomatic agenda between the two countries. The reception included military ceremonies and official representation events.